It's no surprise in the early stages. It probably happened throughout the game that Spain dominate the ball, so it's very important the Swiss, as they're doing here, just sit into a good, solid defensive shape. 2 banks of 4, good communication, don't leave too much space in between, you know, each other for the Spanish players, especially their attacking midfielders and fullbacks to exploit.
Rodriguez. Akanji. The shoot by Morata. Zuba. And Rodriguez, from what Sandy has just indicated, looks like an orthodox left full-back position. Would be the rationale for that?
Well, I was just looking at the positions really that Zuba and Bolo are taking up, you know, wide in midfield, and I think again they've been kind of asked to play up against the Spanish fullbacks who are so dangerous when they step forward.
Zakaria, he's got it back from Vidma. Zakaria kept on going. Pau Torres held his ground. Here's Bolo.
And that's the important thing for Switzerland, whether it's a back 3 or a back 4, when they have the ball, you know, have they got the drive and the willingness to really step forward and take Spain on, step up the pitch.
Shaqiri's looking for a flag, which for now is not forthcoming. Moved eventually, as he clearly anticipated.
Yeah, it looked a pretty obvious one. It was a good defensive line that Spain hold, and Shaqiri is way offside. That's an easy decision for the officials. But again, if Spain do step up the pitch, and the Swiss can get those forward runners timing their runs correctly, they can get in behind, because there's a huge gap in behind that Spanish back four.
Busquets. Sarabia. Jordi Alba. Laporte. Ferran Torres driving at Rodriguez and prepared to take him on. It's a very well-timed tackle.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for those Swiss defenders, their fullbacks, Rodriguez and Vidma, up against Sarabia and Ferran Torres, because they are positive. They can go inside or outside, as Torres does there. And it's an excellent challenge from Rodriguez. Have to really concentrate there, stay on his feet, watch the ball and time the sliding challenge to perfection.
Sommer to deal, if he can, with the first corner of the first quarter-final. Too much on it for Laporte. Hammered through the crowd, though, by Jordi Alba. And via a very kind or cruel deflection, Spain have a prompt lead.
Well, there is a huge chunk of good fortune in here, but it's the old adage, if you don't shoot, you don't score. That's exactly what Spain do here. Jordi Alba just fires it goalwards, but it's the deflection that gives Sommer absolutely no chances. Zakaria, who it comes off, you know, he just hangs out a leg. It's that late reaction, doesn't see the ball till late, and then just sticks out a leg, and it could go anywhere. And unfortunately for Switzerland, it's ended up in the back of the net. You know, Jan Sommer's completely wrong-footed. He's never going to get there. And it's really tough luck on Switzerland, but it's a very, very good start. However, fortunate for Spain.
Every chance, to the dismay of those Swiss supporters, that could go down as the 10th own goal of these European Championship finals. In that regard, it is a constantly self-breaking record. If it's Jordi Alba's goal, well, it will be his 4th in a row for Spain, which have come inside the first 10 minutes, remarkably. Of course, he was a scorer in the 2012 final. Seferovic trying to go through the middle as Switzerland seek to respond at once.
It's so frustrating for a coach. Vladimir Petkovic has his tactical plan. He sets his team up with a back 4 and a midfield 4, and in the opening stages, yes, Spain had a lot of the ball but hadn't really got anywhere. Then a cruel twist of fate, a bit of, you know, misfortune, and they concede a goal. You just can't legislate for that as a coach.
Incidentally, it's also Jordi Alba's second consecutive international goal on this ground. His last goal for Spain was in a 3-3 draw against Russia in St. Petersburg in November of 2017.
Well, he'd be mighty fortunate to get the goal, Jordi Alba, because the shot was on target, but if no one touches it, it's a comfortable save for Sommer. It's a deflection which gives the goalkeeper no chance. You have to feel for Zakari. It's one of those kind of instinctive reactions you have as a footballer. You can't see the ball, suddenly it appears, and you stick out a leg trying to block it, and it just ends up kind of skimming off you into the back of the net. It's really tough to take.
Busquets, Pedri, Sarabia wriggling. Pedri always thinking, and coming up with a bright ball for Jordi Alba. And here comes Mbolo. If there's one thing Switzerland have demonstrated at this competition, it is mental fortitude and a willingness to take it to the wire.
It's very important that the players communicate there. Widmer and Mbolo just didn't have an idea of what each other were doing. It was far too easy for Alba and Sarabia to get in behind them. And that can be the problem when you change shape and players are playing in slightly different positions. Again, it's so important. I'm sure you've worked on that on the training pitch, but come the match day when opponents start to make their moves, you've really got to communicate well and pass players on if need be.
Busquets, Koke, Quetta, Torres to it, Valverde, there's Morata. Sarabia couldn't receive the return.
An example there of Sarabia going infield. Yes, he will take possession of the ball and look to take Widmer on and get crosses in, go around the outside, but there he just played the ball infield and followed it. So as a fullback, you have to be aware that players like Sarabia and Ferran Torres aren't just going to do the same thing every time they pick up the ball.
Spain in sparkling form, just one defeat in their last 28 games, unbeaten in the last 12, scored 5 in each of the last 2. It's made them more remarkable by the fact that they simply can't score at all from the penalty spot, as they've demonstrated on a couple of occasions at this tournament, even given that handicap. Purring along right now. There's very recent history between these two. Actually, they were in a Nations League group together, played just last calendar year. In Madrid, Spain won 1-0. In Basel, they shared a 1-1 draw. Spain won that group and face Italy in Milan on October the 6th in the Nations League semi-final.
Yeah, that was the game where Sergio Ramos missed 2 penalties.
Yeah, which is part of that extraordinary sequence. 5 in a row Spain have failed with. Jan Sommer saved them both.
See how Spain are really looking to stretch the Swis with their fullbacks or their wide midfielders, and that's why I feel that Switzerland have changed to this formation to try and get Widmer, Rodriguez, Zuber and Mbolo to try and deal with those dangers out wide that Spain pose.
Torres, Zakaria. Diagonal picked off by Rodriguez, slipped on towards Shaqiri, thrown away by Simon from in front of Zuba. So he has to react again. As mentioned, he was apologising only a fortnight or so ago after Italy were just too good for Switzerland. The assumption was that this was a team ready to go under, but they responded so well to that with a smashing win against Turkey in Baku. Their backs were right up against the wall into the last 10 minutes against France in Bucharest, and they found an answer again
I think the goal they've conceded here, of course, is hard to take for a coach and for a team, but the one thing we've learned about Petkovic and Switzerland, they won't feel sorry for themselves. They are a resilient side, and they will clear their heads and get themselves set again and push on from here.
Ferran Torres, Pedri, Sarabia, comes way Elvedi.
Again, Spain looking to stretch the game, get it wide, get it to Sarabia. Vidma has to do more, has to get closer to Sarabia. It's too easy for him to get the ball out of his feet and whip across him for Morata.
Sarabia, another to be really blossoming at this competition. His first at the age of 29, relatively late to the tournament game. Goals in each of the last 2 games, and he's earned a corner here for which Aymeric Laporte has advanced, which he prepares to take. In the company of Azpilicueta. Sarabia with outswing by Mbolo. Wide again towards Sarabia. Good protection from Zakaria. Nicked back by Ferran Torres, set by Busquets, held by Morata, who's gone to ground, and Spain have a free kick in a position of great potential. Zakaria, the offender.
I think it's actually Morata looking to play a little 1-2 and get in behind Vidma. I think it's actually Vidma who catches Morata and sends him to the turf. That's why the free kick has been given. The fullback getting a little too close, Morata realising what the striker was looking to do, and he just caught his legs. But this is a real opportunity for Spain to take a 2-0 lead.
In the first instance, Koke has taken the ball. He is yet to score in 54 games for Spain. Given which statistic you might not consider him first choice. Pablo Sarabia further up the queue. It's Koke, it's high.
It's not that easy from that type of range to get it up and down quickly, get the pace on it you need, get the accuracy right into that top corner. Just overcooks it, and Jan Sommer knows just drifting over the crossbar. He's got his angles right. It's been a really positive start from Spain, as we expected. They're dominating the ball, they're forcing Switzerland back. They've had a bit of good luck with the goal. They're clearly looking for a second.
Through his head in, almost inviting the high boot from Pedri. Seferovic. Zakaria, foul on Seferovic by Laporte.
Worst you've ever seen it. It's maybe just a slight touch on the foot of Seferovic, and the way he goes down, I think, convinces the referee there's a foul there.
So Laporte can shackle Seferovic. That is the most obvious attacking Swiss dimension foiled.
And we saw how dangerous Seferovic was against France. If you get crosses into the box, his movement, his leap, his timing of his headers can cause any centre-halves problems. So Pau Torres and Aymeric Laporte will be very aware of that. When the ball is out wide, they'll be getting very close to Seferovic.
Rescued by Simon. He's there to help him out. Pau Torres is there to help him out, but Mbolo has made life complicated, and Pau Torres has had to yield the corner.
Switzerland are a team that do like to press opponents. That's good work by Mbolo. To pinch the ball back in the first instance, then to take Pau Torres on. Torres probably feels he's done enough to stepping across his man there, but he hadn't. And then realised he had to keep the ball in. Eventually, he was the one that knocked it out for the corner.
Before which, not only must Mbolo take some treatment, but I can report to you that The people who make these calls have been putting their heads together and have established that the opening goal, as we thought it probably would be, has now been formally considered an own goal against poor Dennis Zakaria, starting in the tournament for the first time in place of Granit Xhaka, and really doing nothing worse than twitching instinctively as a defender would.
Well, the Swiss will be happy they've got a corner, but it is a worry to see Mbolo down, being stretched as he is there. He's a key player for them, especially on the counter-attack. They need him up and on his feet.
He's on his feet, but not on the field. As Shaqiri delivers the set piece. He's gone back Rodriguez. Long by Sommer, just too long.
Swiss will have to dig deeper. Of course, they're a man light with Mbolo off the pitch.
Ferran Torres. Really at full stretch to dig it out.
And Shaqiri's just dropped back in to play down the right-hand side of midfield in Mbolo's absence. So really, they just need to keep Spain out and see whether Mbolo's going to be OK to carry on.
Simply protecting from Busquets, but giving the ball away again and requiring Rodriguez to bite in. Shaqiri, who's rolled it through here for Seferovic, who was a stud's length away from making contact.
I did see him offside actually when that forward ball was played, but again Spain keeping a really high line. They don't want to drop too deep. They bite Switzerland on, so they're squeezing up the pitch. So again, if you get that forward pass right and the timing of the forward run right, there's every chance the Swiss could get in.
Just gone 20 minutes in, and he's 75% Spanish possession. Or so ago, those were the stats we became routinely used to.
Yeah, it's no surprise they dominated the ball, but of course it's not how much of the ball you have, it's how dangerous you can be with it. And I think Spain have actually created that much. Sommer's not had a save to make. It's a bit of misfortune that sees them behind.
And they are having to make a change here, which is a long, long way from ideal. Mbolo has been a thorn in plenty of opposition flesh over the course of the group stage and beyond. But his predicament now is there for all to see. He is being strapped up, and Ruben Vargas comes off the bench for the fourth game in a row. Augsburg striker.
It's not ideal for Switzerland losing Xhaka to suspension, then losing Mbolo, who was one of their most dangerous players. But I suppose you have to look at it positively and say it's an opportunity for Vargas.
His 16th cap. He's only 22 years old. He's by no means prolific at Bundesliga level, just half a dozen goals last season for a mid-table club. Widmer, keep it in. It's a clever little pick. Koke. Ferran Torres. Morata beaten to it by Alvedi. Critically so.
Oh, the ball around the corner from Pedri was outstanding. Koke gets Spain moving, gets the ball wide again, stretches the Swiss defensively. It's an excellent ball in. There's good positioning by Alvedi. Yes, he's watching the ball, but he has to be aware where Morata is, and he's in the right place at the right time.
Sarabia conspiring with Koke. In by Koke, Morata's had a clasp beneath his bar by Sommer.
You see the strength of Morata there, just shrugged off Akanji to get to the ball, but there's no real pace on the ball. It was a difficult header. He's trying to generate all the power and accuracy himself, and he just really headed it straight into the keeper's hands. And you see the Spanish dominance, but it is only 1-0, and that goal came about for a mistake from Zakaria. So again, I think the Swiss are going to put it into perspective and say that, you know, they're not that far away from competing in this game. I see Morata there. I think Akanji will say that he was fouled. I'm not sure that he was. Actually, it's Azpilicueta with the head. I thought it was Morata. It's Azpilicueta. Maybe that contact there, VAR might have looked at that, and if he'd have scored, it might have been disallowed, but good strength from the fullback. Azpilicueta does bring an awful lot to this Spanish side defensively. You know, very strong part of that back four, or as a one-on-one defender. And get forward on the overlap, deliver crosses. He's strong from set plays as well, so he's a player that can provide so much in defence and attack.
Morata. Ferran Torres. Spain began this tournament with a goalless draw against Sweden in Seville, but they now have 12 goals for Luis Enrique in the competition, which is as many as they scored in winning it in its entirety, both in 2008 and 2012.
Torres and Sarabia have just switched flanks here, but it's noticeable when Spain have the ball how they're looking to get those players as wide as possible to really stretch that Swiss back four. They couldn't really get any wider, could they?
Laporte, Busquets. It's a good steal by Rodriguez. Zakaria. Spontaneously puts the ball out when he wasn't obliged to, because Sarabia is still feeling it a bit off the back of that tigerish tackle from Rodriguez.
It was a great challenge, perfectly timed. He won the ball cleanly. It's just that the follow-through was only a small one. It did catch Sarabia, but again, no intent whatsoever. It was a clean challenge.
So here's the drummer. Amongst those warming up for Spain. We've seen some sparkling moments from him. 27 years ago today, at the Robert F. Kennedy Stadium, Washington, Luis Enrique scored Spain's second in a 3-0 win against Switzerland in the last 16 of the American World Cup. The scorers on that occasion, Fernando Hierro and Chiqui Begiristain. A big part of Pep's backroom at Manchester City. Javier Clemente's team of Zubizarreta and Ferrer, Goycochea, Baquero, and so on, against the Swiss team then managed by Roy Hodgson. Shaqiri, Malvedi, Torres. He stayed with him. Got a kind break.
That's good defending from Malvedi. That's what you have to do against Ferran Torres. Get as close as you possibly can and time your challenges correctly. If you allow him space to operate in to run at you, he can go right or left, and he's quick. So as a defender, you need to get touch tight with him.
By Seferovic, beautifully welcomed in by Shaqiri, and spread now for Steven Zuba. Face to face with Azpilicueta. Zuba, Rodriguez, Freuler. Freuler into a cul-de-sac, and Koke into touch.
An example there, the Spanish work off the ball, Morata back, Koke back, making it so difficult for the Swiss to put 2 or 3 passes together. They're always under pressure when they're on the ball.
Ladies giveaway. Busquets. Sarabhia's ball picked off by Akanji. Good strength in possession. Forward by Vidma. Chelsea was the substitute Vargas.
Yeah, the idea was right, but when you play a ball in behind Jordi Alba, there's only ever going to be one winger. No matter how fast you are, he is faster.
Incidentally, now that Jordi Alba has been deprived of that goal, it is also true to say, rather oddly, that own goals are Spain's top scorers in this competition. They've had 3 of them. First of those, of course, a really crazy one from Martin Dubravka. Kucka got one in the same game against Slovakia. And Zakares is the 3rd scored on Spain's behalf. They did provide one of their own as well. Sorry, just seeing Pedri there.
Yeah, I suppose Spain will say, well, you know, if you put pressure on, you can make opponents make mistakes. I suppose Spain will say, OK, our players haven't scored them, but in the way that we play, the way we get the ball in the box and put pressure on opponents, it makes them make those mistakes. So, yes, there have been a lot of own goals, but it comes from Spanish pressure, probably.
Winning ahead of that shouldn't happen against Busquets. It's come regardless to Morata. And now Pedri. He's mentioned himself a scorer of perhaps the most remarkable of all the own goals at this competition. Ferran Torres. Places to go.
And once again, there's a nice little touch there from Pedri. He's an extraordinary talent, such a young man, but he has such a great awareness, spatial awareness, what's going on around him. He just lays that ball back into the path of Ferran Torres so easily, and there's no foul in there. I think Torres is looking for that. He's not blocked off at all.
Seferovic, Vargas. Seferovic. Vidma can get here first and wins a corner. Jordi Alba made up ground.
Yeah, breaks kindly for Vidma. Seferovic here taking the shot. He's a precious little service. You can understand why he shoots, but again, the pace of Alba gets him back to block the cross. This is where the Swiss can put pressure on. Decent service from Shaqiri. Centre halves up from the back. Seferovic in there as well.
And by Shaqiri. Pushed up and over by Akanji.
I'll be disappointed. It's an excellent ball in, it's flat, it's pacey, he just needs to redirect it. Seems to time the jump correctly, just comes off the top of his head. If he gets a firm forehead on that and keeps it on target, has every chance of scoring.
Something he's never yet done for his country, Manuel Akanji of Borussia Dortmund. 34th cap tonight, still no goals. Defensive partner at club level of Mats Hummels. Freuler. That's a lovely spread. Shaqiri has time to weigh his options here. Again, Alba blocks the route.
You always know with Shaqiri, when he picks up possession, he's going to shift that ball onto his strong left foot. Alba realised that as well, and he knew that the right-footed cross was not going to come in, so he just stepped across Alba and blocked the ball in. Again, another opportunity from the set piece.
Once more, Jordan Shaqiri. Showing too much depth. Zuba can keep it alive. Squeeze it away from him.
Still, that is an excellent ball in. It's just everybody actually makes their way towards the near post. It goes over the top of everybody else. They haven't really filled all the channels, near post, middle, far post. Don't think Shaqiri does anything wrong. His ball in is a decent one. His teammates have just run underneath it.
Rodriguez taken back down by Morata. Koke, Pedri. Done by Jordi Alba. Just out of the range of Ferran Torres.
Just plays it a little bit too early. Jordi Alba, the build-up play is excellent from right to left. They stretch the game. Just feel he would have been better served just playing that ball out wide into the feet of Sarabia rather than play that really difficult ball. The angle in is tricky. The weight of it is not easy to try and put it on a plate for Morata.
Tournament for English referee Michael Oliver. He's had a couple of notable ones. Hungary's draw with France in Budapest. A week and a half ago, Sweden 3, Poland 2 on this ground. He's been in charge of both of these nations twice before, and neither has ever lost under him. Followed by Morata at the back of Akanji.
It's not intentional from Morata, but he's never going to get to that ball. Akanji is quicker than him. It's just an accidental collision, but it is a foul.
Those Swiss fans tells you that every game for them really is a bonus game. Never been to this stage of this competition before. Times out of 100, given the drama of their game against France the other day, they wouldn't be here now. And it was a crazy night. Vidma. Vargas. Vidma. Another corner conceded by Alba out of necessity.
It's a good spell for the Swiss. They're getting the ball forward, they're getting it wide, they're getting their fullbacks forward, Vidma in particular down this right-hand side. It's just they can't get any decent service into the box for Seferovic time, and again it's Alba blocking those crosses.
In by Shaqiri, and that's quite a lick by the on-rushing Vidma.
It's not easy for him, but he does actually get away from... It's Ferran Torres who's marking him here. It seems to lose him. He doesn't see it so late. I think that's the problem. He can't really set himself. He's not actually looking at the ball when he heads it, so you've got no chance of directing it properly if you're not looking at it. But again, from a set play, decent ball in from Jordan Shaqiri. It's there to be attacked, and they keep getting their heads on these balls in. They just can't direct them on target. There's certainly encouragement for the Swiss in the last 10 minutes or so. They're playing the game more in the Spanish half, and even Even though they were in the game at 1-0 down, I don't think they've been completely dominated, even though Spain have had lots of the ball high up the pitch. They're starting to carry a threat themselves.
Pedri. Sarabia. It's working back well. Shaqiri. Chasing onto it here is Steven Zuba, who's got the ground. There are two issues here, and the first of them is offside.
Yeah, he's way offside. Shaqiri needed to play the ball much earlier. The run is an excellent one from wide on the left into a central position. Again, that high line for Spain. Shaqiri needs to just knock him in immediately, and he would be onside, but he was clearly off.
And so the second of them becomes irrelevant.
It should be really obvious now to the Swiss that the Spanish are maintaining that really high defensive line, so there is space in behind, so they should be aware when they take possession at the first touch or at the very latest second touch, just knock it in behind them for forward runners.
Vargas. Busquets. Seen and done it all. Whipped in by Sarabia. Too close to Sommer.
But once again, Fitler doesn't do enough to stop the cross. It's too easy for Sarabia to whip this ball in. It isn't the greatest crosses into the keeper's hands, but again, the fullback has to get closer. You're playing a back four against genuine wide players. You've got to get tighter than that.
Vidmar. Finds touch.
It is quite unusual, really, for modern kind of fullbacks playing in a back four against wide players. Wide players normally just infield, and it's the fullbacks, opposition fullbacks, that provide the width. But in this Spanish side, with Ferran Torres and Sarabia, they are genuinely the wide attacking threats. The fullbacks really have to defend against those players well, and it's not something you do an awful lot of in the modern game.
Hold down here. Switzerland may be haunted by recent memory. They were knocked out of the last World Cup on this very ground 3 years ago tomorrow at St. Petersburg. 1-0 to an Emil Forsberg goal for Sweden. 7 of this team were in that team. Busquets. Samako, Akanji, Rodriguez, Shaqiri, Zuba. Seferovic came on late to try and salvage it. Forsberg, who had a terrific tournament for Sweden this time, but a tournament which is no more.
Swiss clearly are a team that like to play the ball to feet, but when you're up against a side that plays such a high line, you've maybe got to adapt that game plan and play a little bit longer, play the ball into space rather than into feet.
Foul back of Zuba by Azpilicueta as we head towards first half stoppage time.
Yeah, there's no way Azpilicueta's going to get away with that. He's saying he played the ball and possibly did get a chunk of the ball, but he's going through his man to get to it.
Just 1 minute to add on. Of course, will be very familiar with the referee playing in the English Premier League. Here's Seferovic. No problem to Unai Simon.
It is an opportunity again. They just turn Spain around. Simple forward ball into space, in behind a fullback. Seferovic just bends his run in there. Okay, it's not the greatest cross, but again, I think he just turns Spain around on a few occasions. And they'll always try and play the ball into feet. There's a chance for them. I'm sure that will be mentioned at half-time about maybe the need to play that little bit longer and get their strikers, Seferovic and Shaqiri and Vargas, looking to make those bending runs in behind the back four.
Jordi Alba. Pedri. Sarabia, that's a very good reach and a very necessary one from Zakaria. Away by Vidma, half-time. Well, for now it's Spain. Truth be told, though, there is not a whole lot in it. All that divides them is one particularly unfortunate moment for Dennis Zakaria coming into Switzerland's starting 11 for the first time in the tournament today. Jordi Alba belted one back into the penalty area. Zakaria reacted instinctively and turned it past his own goalkeeper, the 10th own goal of Euro 2020, whereby at half-time in St. Petersburg, it is Switzerland 0, Spain 1.
Best of all starts for Spain, worst of all starts for Switzerland. The own goal and the injury at the other end of the field. But since then, we've seen again, they stay in the game and Spain are by no means home just yet. Michael Owen coming next.
Leading us to the top. We dare to dream and dare to put a stop. Gonna scale the summit, gonna reach up high. We are the chosen, the ones to climb. Lifted high, lifted
seru-seruan. Experience more with Traveloka Experience. Beli semua pengalaman serumu. Mulai dari atraksi, spa dan kecantikan, tur hingga olahraga. Traveloka dulu, experience more kemudian. Tambah experience lagi ah.
The Bundesliga's top two, the best attack versus the best defense. Beyond compare. Oh, what a hit! Magnificent! That is glorious!
Introducing the new Jarum Super Next with spicy aromatic blend.
It was his kiss that woke you.
You are not the champion I expected.
The scene in St. Petersburg as dusk falls in the northern part of Russia, but it's just the start of a great weekend of live football for you, with all four of the Euro 2020 quarterfinals coming up here on MOLA. In the first of them, welcome everybody, it is Switzerland 0, Spain 1 here on the Super Soccer UEFA Euro 2020 live match programme on MOLA. Delighted to have your company, and we're very delighted indeed to have Michael Owen as our special guest along with Aldo. What have you made of it so far in this one, Michael?
Well, as predicted, really, Spain with the majority of the possession. They've built their success over generations. I've played in Spain. It is, you know, you don't give the ball away. That ball is, you know,
precious
is
indeed.
Precious. Don't give it away. And we've seen that in the first half. Switzerland, very much a counter-attacking team. But in the last 10 minutes, they've actually started to get a little bit of success, so they'll hope to carry on that in the second half.
Aldo?
Sesuai prediksi, Spanyol mendominasi penguasaan bola di babak pertama dan tentunya kita lihat Swis bermain dengan sangat penuh serangan balik. Namun di 10 menit terakhir terlihat Swis bermain lebih dominan lagi dan tentunya di babak kedua akan menarik untuk disimak apa yang akan terjadi.
Thank you, Aldo. So, Switzerland, Michael, disrupted by the loss of Granit Xhaka. We'll speak in detail about that, but they did seem to be a little bit rudderless early on, didn't they, as Spain came onto them?
They showed nothing, Paul, early on in the game. It's only later on that they did anything. This is the goal, Jordi Alba striking it well, fair play to him. But as you can quite clearly see, Zakaria, the ball ricochets off him, trying to clear it, trying to get a block on it. It's just one of those unfortunate things. You question whether he can close down better, faster. This is a free kick from Koke, yeah. Very difficult when the ball's so close. The only thing there, I'm thinking, go under. They've not had anybody lying under the wall there. You're so close, and maybe that was an occasion to go under the wall.
And dominant throughout the first 20-25 minutes, as you say. They looked the more progressive side, didn't they, Spain?
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to see Morata here making a run, nipping in front of his man. I mean, how do you expect to score a goal when you're standing behind the centre-half like that? I mean, he's not going to miss the ball. You've got to nip in front at the last minute and try to get that chance.
So the pressure was on, Mike, but somehow, again in this game, Switzerland are now a very dogged side, aren't they? When they're under pressure, they don't panic. They've got a goalkeeper who can do his bit. And at the other end, starting late in the half to create one or two little moments to remind Spain that this is maybe not all done with just yet. For the first 20-25 minutes, it was all Spain, and we were up around 75% possession. But by half-time, down to 66. And as Michael rightly says, it's all about keeping the ball if you are Spain. Switzerland just beginning to work their way into it. Aldo.
Gol bunuh diri Denis Zakaria di 8 menit awal menjadi pembeda dalam skor sementara antara Swiss melawan Spanyol. Namun kita bisa lihat Swiss juga bukannya tidak membuat kesempatan dan peluang di depan gawang, namun sayangnya mereka belum beruntung.
As we forecast, thank you, Aldo, the loss of Granit Xhaka to suspension today, big boots for anybody to fill, Michael. I've watched this Denis Zakaria in the Bundesliga quite a lot, and you know he's been out of form quite honestly all year, and I think when he comes in on a big day like that, that demonstrates it. It seems a very lazy leg, as you professionals like to say.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to get out to the ball and press it, and then if it does take a deflection, the goalkeeper's got more time to react when the ball goes out like that. But watch this for a pass. I mean, good luck. He's bouncing it into his central midfield.
He was all
with
over
a
the
man
place.
on.
All over the place at this stage.
And I mean, he's done some good things as well. But when you come into the team, you certainly don't want to be scoring an own goal within a few minutes.
Horrible.
You know, and yeah, mentally as well, it's very hard to recover from that. So we'll see in the second half if he can. But as you say, right from the outset, big boots to fill from Xhaka.
The other big talking point in terms of the selection today for Spain, with Luis Enrique again moving people in and out of the back line. Now, Jordi Alba, of course, had a big impact on the game, and he and the left-sided centre-back, Pau Torres, they've both shown that they're muscular, dogged, determined, and some parts of it has been good, Michael, but when it comes to defending some of these set pieces, I think there's still got to be a question mark here. We'll see them in a moment, but...
Well, I'd love to see Switzerland testing them more. I mean, this is the weak part of the Spain team. I mean, they've conceded lots of goals in the last couple of games. So I'd like to see, and I do think we will see as well in the second half.
Shaqiri's delivery is normally so very, very good, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, set pieces, I think they've been... Well, virtually
so everybody missed that one. That could have gone in the net.
Yeah, virtually every cross, Paul, has been headed by a Switzerland head.
A minute or two later, Michael, just a shade long for the Swiss players, but no Spain player, and certainly no dominant centre-back.
No, and I think, you know, when you're a team that aren't quite as good as your opponents, then set pieces become key, and I think they will be key in the second half.
Absolutely. The indications here, I think, that Petkovic will now be saying to the Swiss players, we're still in this game, very much so.
You said a line just before, or just after half-time, they're still in it, and the longer you can stay in it, look at their last game against France, the longer they can stay in the game, they can always commit men forward later on.
Aldo?
Ya, tentunya yang kita bisa lihat, Denis Zakaria yang masuk menggantikan Granit Xhaka tidak bermain baik di babak pertama, mencetak 1 gol bunuh diri. Dan juga untuk bagian pertahanan dari Spanyol masih terlihat rapuh dan bisa dieksploit oleh Swiss di babak kedua.
Just a reminder that Aldo will take centre stage a little bit later with the quiz Premier League trips of a lifetime, games consoles to be won. But before that, a place in the semi-finals is at stake in St. Petersburg. Spain are edging it at the moment, and later we head to Munich. Our second live game is an absolute European monster, and it could be a classic. Belgium against Italy. Second half from St. Petersburg. When we return here, more from Michael, more from Aldo in just a moment.
Bagus sih, bisa menambah teman lebih banyak, terus bisa berbaur lebih dekat. Yang awalnya nggak kenal menjadi kenal. Ini keluarga kedua bagi saya setelah keluarga pertama di rumah. Ini pengalaman berharga bisa mendapat keluarga kedua di sini.
He disrespects you. Fucking idiot. Go on, Gordon. You got him, you got him. Who's got that afterglow? I say let's take it slow.
All them roads leading us to the top. We dare to dream and dare to put a stop. Gonna scale the summit, gonna reach up high. We are the chosen, the ones to climb.
Seru-seruan. Experience more with Traveloka Experience. Beli semua pengalaman serumu. Mulai dari atraksi, spa dan kecantikan, tur hingga olahraga. Traveloka dulu, experience more kemudian. Tambah experience lagi ah.
Don't miss the exclusive
quarterfinal of Euro 2020. Watch
live matches, replay matches,
highlights and much more.
Only on MOLA.
I think Elliot, he was brilliant for us because he also not only did he excel, but he brought an element of professionalism.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It adds a good flavour to it, and I think they combined well and would have learned off each other.
The Super Soccer halftime show, and we're not even halfway through our big show for you all across Indonesia on MOLA with the exclusive coverage to follow of Belgium against Italy. We know that you're going to be staying with us for the duration, as Michael Owen is here, and indeed Aldo. Again, great prizes to give away later in our quiz with Aldo, Premier League trips of a lifetime, games consoles. In the prize on offer in our first live game in St. Petersburg, Michael, it is Spain just edging it, but I say only just edging it. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. And, you know, with Switzerland having come back in the last game against France from 3-1 down, they will believe still that they can get back into this one. Spain, they'll be happy in control of possession. They'll be happy. But Switzerland will have to come out a little bit more the longer this game comes, and then Spain will have to watch out.
OK, Michael, so where's it won and lost from here then, please? The keys to success as we head toward the second half.
Well, 2 points mainly for the Swiss, because they're the ones that are chasing the game now. And I think counter-attacking with pace is key for them. They're sitting back, and I think they can just counter-attack. Once they win the ball, do it quickly, do it with pace, test these suspect centre-halves out for Spain. The second one, as we touched on before the break, was set pieces. Corners, they look dangerous. They're virtually winning every header, and they've got that really good delivery from Shaqiri. And then the final one from Spain's point of view, keep possession. That's what they know best. You know, draw mistakes from this Swiss team. They're going to have to commit eventually. So just keep the ball, keep moving it, wait for that little opportunity, and then try to kill the game.
Great stuff, Michael. Thank you very much indeed. And another very, very good technician is on in the second half. Dani Olmo has come on for Sarabia at half-time. No early information as to whether that is an injury for Spain or whether it's tactical by Luis Enrique. It may indicate that he was unhappy with how the last 20 minutes of that first half went. Spain dominant, but not forcing home the advantage, and Switzerland are very, very gritty indeed, and still in this contest. Let's head outside again then to Andy Hinchcliffe and Peter Drury.
Bucharest on Monday. Switzerland led 1-0 at half-time. Seferovic, they were quickly 3-1 down and somehow rescued themselves. At Copenhagen on Monday, Spain fell behind to an own goal, scored by Pedri, and via a similarly circuitous route found a way through to this quarter-final game, which is still in the balance as Dani Olmo makes his presence felt for the first time.
I think for the Swiss, of course, beating France will give them great belief that they can turn this situation around. Even the first half here, apart from that deflection from Zakaria, they've been in the game.
Shaqiri quickly on with it, chased in by Akanji.
Spain have dominated the ball, they've outpassed Switzerland, but they haven't really created that many opportunities. It's just vitally important for Switzerland that when they do get the ball, they are clinical, maybe get the ball in behind that Spain defence a little bit more. And when an opportunity comes along, they simply have to take it.
It's a strong Ferran Torres gave it him back. It's Alvaro Morata, who's made himself a yard and who picked out Olmo.
It's really good play from Morata, unselfish play. I think as the forward ball is played, he's actually in an offside position, so even if Olmo had scored, it wouldn't have counted, but really unselfish work from Morata. Great weight of pass, but the offside flag had gone up.
That's why the Swiss are so missing. Their leader, Granit Xhaka, who's had a tempestuous career of extraordinary extremes, but who at this tournament, on behalf of his country, has been magnificent, and who'd love one more crack at it. Zuba. Shaqiri. Zuba. It's inviting Widmers round the back. And Jordi Alba's header required a little attention of Unai Simon.
Well, Jordi Alba had to deal with this. He's in a good defensive position. He's had a little look. He knows that Widmer is beyond him. He can't leave it, or Widmer would keep it alive. So he has to deal with it in some way. And just knocking it behind was his way of dealing with it.
Intent from Switzerland at the start of the second half. Intent out of necessity. Quarter-final, they chase. Shaqiri delivers. Akanji had a little nod. And fell via Ferran Torres for his goalkeeper.
Those in-swinging corners from Xherdan Shaqiri are causing Spain a lot of problems. It seemed that it was a real opportunity there for Akanji. He just didn't seem to make any firm contact with his header.
Torres. Kick against Zakaria. It's the comportment of someone Believes the world is stacking up against him today.
The Swiss are sticking with that back four at the moment. Just wonder, the longer the game goes on, might they switch to a back three and wing backs and take a few more risks?
Ferran Torres. Twisting was Morata. Akanji failed with his clearance and got away with it. Zuba was stopped by Piliqueta from prompting a quick counter. Three previous tournament meetings between these two. They met at the 1966 World Cup at Hillsborough, the famous home of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. Spain won that by 2-1. Mentioned the game in Washington, USA, in the last 16 of 1994, in which Luis Enrique scored a goal in another Spanish win. World Cup 2010, Durban, June 2010. Gelson Fernandez with the goal early in the second half, by which Switzerland won. Hitzfeld, so Switzerland beat Spain in their first game of a tournament that they would go on to win for Vicente Del Bosque. Crazy result in context, because Switzerland then lost to Chile, drew with Honduras and went out. And Spain went all the way, and that is still Switzerland's only win against the Spanish 11 years and more ago. Here's Dani Olmo. Hurrying Vidmar. Olmo, and Koke was stooping and levering and never really in control.
Well, it all started with a sensational crossfield pass from Aymeric Laporte. On the right-hand side of the centre of the Spanish defence, out to Dani Olmo again, stretching the game out on that left-hand side as Sarabia did in the first half, and looking to take on his man and whip a cross in. It was a difficult chance, though. It was slightly behind Koke. But Laporte has that ability. He's a great defender. He has that ability, great distribution out from the back.
Alvedi. Shaqiri. Rodriguez of Torino. Torres of Villarreal. This is Nico Alvedi of Borussia Mönchengladbach. Of Pedri, who, by the way, today becomes the youngest player ever to represent his country in the quarter-final of a European Championship. 18 years and 219 days. Freuler. Shaqiri. Vargas, he's got a deflection, he's got a corner last off Busquets.
He had an opportunity there, an early opportunity to whip that ball in for Seferovic. He just took an extra touch or two, which meant that Busquets could close him down. But that's one thing that really the Swiss have lacked, is decent delivery into the box for Seferovic to attack.
They are getting decent delivery from these Shaqiri corners. And one of them is due to pay off. In by Shaqiri, was he going for goal? I have a feeling he was.
Yeah, it looks as if Unai Simon had actually anticipated the ball in towards one of the centre halves and stepped way off his line. I'm sure Shaqiri was looking to catch him out there at his near post.
He's a mischievous footballer, Xherdan Shaqiri. It's the sort of thought he would have. He's a terrific tournament scoring record. World Cup hat-trick in 2014 against Honduras in Manaus. Morata also has a very good tournament scoring record. Laporte. Piliqueta. Busquets. Held on by Pedri, welcomed in by Olmo. Pedri, Busquets, Piliqueta. Ferran Torres.
Something you don't see too often with Laporte and Pau Torres, two left-footed centre-halves.
Ferran Torres. Zakaria's tackle. Spanish change, and Gerard Moreno is going to replace Alvaro Morata. The two have been deployed together or in each other's stead throughout the competition, but the Villarreal man who started the last two group games, wasn't involved in the last 16 tie against Croatia, returns to the picture now. Had a fabulous 30-goal club season, went all the way to the final and won it of the Europa League, of course, at Manchester United's expense.
It's a slightly unusual time to make a change, 9 minutes into the second half, so whether Luis Enrique has seen something he's not happy with or just wants to freshen it up, that's maybe why he's made the change.
Vidma. Followed by Kanji, laid off for Shaqiri. Return ball for Zuba is importantly read by Laporte.
And that's the key feature, Peter, is his reading of the game there, Laporte. It was just a little give and go. Zuba's on his way, but Laporte has read Zuba's intentions, and he's in the way.
Rodriguez alert. Shaqiri delivering. And nudged behind for another set piece by the recently arrived substitute, Gerard Moreno.
That's a waste, because Spain has switched off there. See by Shaqiri's reaction, he knows he should have been whipping a dangerous ball in. They're under no pressure. And Spain has switched off.
Akanji a natural target. Rodriguez with left-footed outswing. Depth from Rodriguez, and the header has dropped wide from Zakaria.
It's not a powerful header, he's just nodding it back across goal, and that is so close to an equaliser after scoring the own goal, slicing it past his own goalkeeper. He would have redeemed himself if that had nestled in the corner. I'm not sure Unai Simon knew it was going wide, but a real chance for Switzerland to equalise, and so close. But again, from a set piece, whether it be Shaqiri swinging them in or Rodriguez, they are causing Spain a lot of problems. I do feel there's been a lot more intent, really. Now there seems to be stepping higher up the pitch onto Spain, looking to force the issue. They have to do that at 1-0 down.
So it's a good grab by Vargas. Here's Shaqiri. Now Zuba. Someone can come and gather.
And that all starts from Vargas stepping in again. More intensity from Switzerland, more pressure on Spain in their own half.
And this fixture is, of course, the product of the two best, most thrilling last 16 ties. Manic Monday, as it became known, in which two nations, France and Croatia, scored 3 goals each and lost. This feels tighter, but don't forget both of those games really came to life only in the last quarter of an hour or so.
There was also substitutes who had big impacts on those games as well, so there's a possibility with the benches that we have today that substitutes coming on could change the course of the match.
He's gone through Olmo. Prepared to advance, and Seferovic with A pretty rudimentary shove which costs them a free kick.
It's an obvious foul. It's the first time really we've seen Laporte carry the ball into midfield, and Seferovic is maybe slightly caught out and he's chasing down the centre halves. There's a clear push in the back.
So perhaps first chance for Gerard Moreno to get a sniff in opposition territory. Flicked in by Koke, and acrobatically steered wide by Ferran Torres.
Well, that's not an easy chance, because he's having to get off the ground just to control the ball with his chest and then try and strike it. You know, as it drops, and Seferovic does well to close him down. Acrobatic really from Ferran Torres, but good defending from the centre forward.
Torres seeking to score for the third game in a row. Dani Olmo. Koke. Koke again. Almost made the dash, but won't dash quickly enough.
Well, it's not his fault, Olmo. The run is a good one. It's just the weight of the pass from Koke is all wrong. I just wonder with Switzerland, will they maybe change the formation with the personnel they've got out there, or will they think about sending on Gavranovic relatively early and maybe playing with a front two and taking somebody off? We'll see.
Mercifully cooler in St. Petersburg than it was during the group stage, when we were sometimes playing games in mid-30s degrees, 22, 23 degrees at kick-off this evening. By contrast, incidentally, with Switzerland's last major quarter-final, which was, as mentioned, at their own World Cup in Lausanne, 1954, when they lost, incredibly, 7-5 to Austria in 40-degree heat. Looking back on that extraordinary game way back, sepia-tinged history of this nation, which is so enjoying its re-emergence now. Switzerland were 3-0 up in 20 minutes. Soon after the half hour, they were 5-3 down. It was 5-4 at half-time. Austria went on to the semi-final and lost 6-1 to West Germany.
Did any of the teams have goalkeepers?
You might well ask. So, Dani Olmo has looked bright, potentially penetrative since coming on at half-time.
It's not been easy for Vidma. First half up against Sarabia, had a problem with him. Now Dani Olmo in that position is really lively every time he gets the ball, looking to make things happen, drifting infield or outside. So it's been a really tough ask for Vidma to deal with such talented attacking players.
Jordi Alba. No complication from Nico Elvedi.
Well, Vidma steps in and Vargas hasn't stayed with Jordi Alba. And defensively, that's what he has to do. Far too easy for Alba then just to get forward on the overlap. Nobody's shoulder to shoulder with him. He can get into space and deliver the cross.
Moreno. Clemson was awarded the throw. Had his big scoring chance in the group stage, of course, but hit the Polish post with a penalty. Dani Olmo has got a corner out of that. Miroslav Vargas. So forward, we've already seen Azpilicueta get on the end of one of these. Looking to deal with Pau Torres right on the line. Kanji, by Freuler. Simon came a fair way.
See, what a pass that was from the goalkeeper.
What an important read that was by Alvedi to prevent Jordi Alba having a clear route to goal. Shaqiri. Zuba. Green grass ahead of him. Vargas wide of him. This is Ruben Vargas for Switzerland. And Zuba! Clawed away by Unai Simon.
Just needed to get more power in the strike. I thought it was the wrong choice, really, from Vargas, looking to get it through Azpilicueta and into the path of the onrushing Zuba, but he managed to get there through the legs of the full-back, and he's just really jabbed that goal. I think some of the pace has been taken off it by a defensive challenge as well, but it's a great opportunity for Switzerland. Again, it shows their intent. They're not just sitting back and looking to maybe play on the counter, they're swarming up the pitch when they can.
The first shot on target. It's the first save Simon has had to make in the game. It's Rodriguez with the corner, with vicious outswing. Away by Pedri. Rodriguez. Flags up. Frustration, how he wishes he could really impact.
Yeah, he's played well, but he's also inspired the players around him as well. Apparently he made a really stirring team talk before the penalty shootout against France, which really got his team going, and you missed that out on the pitch when you got leaders like him.
And he has to be wary here of Gerard Moreno. Zakaria caught on it. His business to try and win it back. Azpilicueta. Ferran Torres. Busquets. Dani Olmo. Moreno. Alba. Pedri. Moreno. Just about kept it in. Busquets ran into traffic. I consider himself a shade fortunate that having done so, he drew the foul, which leads not just to a yellow card for Sylvain Widmer, but to a free kick.
It's the last thing he wants, to be booked with the players that he's been up against and is up against now, but he just gets there slightly late. That follow-through does catch Busquets, and I can understand Spain getting the ball out to Dani Olmo with Widmer just booked.
Pedri. Ferran Torres. Beyond Pedri and back by Widmer. Switzerland part of what you would consider a fairly curious last 8 lineup here. 3 of the third-place teams are still in the competition at this stage. Switzerland, Ukraine and the Czech Republic. Only Portugal from the group of death haven't made it through the last 16 to the quarterfinals. And that great group, F of France and Portugal and Germany, the only one entirely unrepresented. And here is Freuler, and there's Shaqiri, and Switzerland are level. Xherdan Shaqiri, bearer of the Swiss armband, with a moment of potential Swiss salvation.
Well, That's a wonderfully cool finish, and another defensive error though from Spain. They look to be dealing with the forward ball. They get themselves into a right mess. I feel the ball maybe cannons off Pau Torres into the path of Shaqiri. As the forwards ball is played, they seem to be dealing with this. They've got enough defenders back there, but it's the centre halves who get themselves in a right pickle. It's actually Laporte who plays the ball against Pau Torres. It then bounces into the path actually of Freuler, who does really well. He gets his head up. He isn't selfish. He actually passes it, lays it on a plate for Shaqiri, and on his weaker right foot, doesn't panic. He just passes it into the corner. I think it's no more than Switzerland deserve. They've stayed in the game. They're unfortunate to go behind. They've kept at it, and they've got an equaliser. What character they've shown again.
It is an 8th major tournament goal for Xherdan Shaqiri. 4 at World Cups, 4 at European Championship finals, 3 in his last 3 games, at the expense of a desolate Unai Simon. And with just more than 20 minutes to play, we are back where we started.
I talked about the Swiss intent at the start of this second half, and Freuler, look how high up the pitch he is when that forward ball is played. He's not back in his own half looking to defend, he's looking to take the game to Spain, and that's exactly what Switzerland have done.
And Switzerland are unbeaten in the last 16 games in which Xherdan Shaqiri has scored. More than 9 years since Switzerland played a game in which Shaqiri scored, and they have gone on to lose. Shaqiri scored and lost for Switzerland in a friendly against Argentina in February of 2012. Rodriguez.
This was a criticism really of Spain before that group game against Slovakia when they knocked 5 in, is that they had a lot of the ball, they were out passing their opponents, but they weren't creating and taking the chances that their dominance of the ball really should deserve. And this game again has been another example of it. Plenty of the ball, plenty of passes, but they haven't really hurt Switzerland an awful lot. Someone's not had to make save after save, and Switzerland again at 1-0 down, you're always in the game. Their intent to step up the pitch, to get midfielders in attacking positions. And I said it right at the start of the second half, when a chance comes along, you have to take it, and Shaqiri has done that.
Didn't score a single goal in the Premier League for Liverpool. The domestic season just finished, and has scored 3 now at this tournament for Switzerland. And he is one of those for whom national involvement does seem to bring out the best. Hat-trick at Manaus against Honduras, World Cup 2014, Euro 2016, a brilliant goal at Saint-Etienne, overhead kick against Poland. Then another goal at the last World Cup against Serbia at Kaliningrad, and now his 2 against Turkey in Bucharest, and this one here.
He doesn't play enough domestic football, Xherdan Shaqiri, but I remember watching him as an under-21 player, and you knew, back then just how good he was going to be and the impact he could have at senior level, and that's exactly what he's gone on and done.
And Torres, straight from the Kanja, Alvedi. Zakaria, he'll be feeling a whole lot better now. Long-legged emergence out of midfield. Zuba. The way around Aspilicueta. Forcefully taken back by Rodriguez. And cushioned here for Zuba! Lifted out as far as Freuler.
The ball into Zuba was not really what he wanted. He needed it down on the floor so he could either whip across in or shoot, but it was played up in the air, so we had to kind of head it across goal. And the opportunity really had gone, but how high up the pitch we're now seeing Rodriguez and Zuba. In the first half they were really pinned in, the Spanish wide players. Now they're stepping right up the pitch and taking those Spanish attacking players back into their own half.
Laporte. Offside against Ferran Torres. To tonight, 8 knockout ties have produced 29 goals, 4 periods of extra time and 1 shootout. We are 17 minutes or so away from another period of extra time. Stood his ground.
That's good recovery from Vidmer. He was actually high up the pitch when Switzerland had the ball. They gave it away cheaply, and he had to sprint back into his right back berth to make sure he defended properly. So he's covering a lot of ground for the team, but has to get up the pitch and get back and defend properly as well. Not easy.
Okay. Gerard Moreno from wide. Nicked in here for Azpilicueta, right across the face. Kept alive by Jordi Alba.
It's a great run from Azpilicueta. It's a decent ball across as well. Just his teammates hadn't appreciated that he was going to whip a ball in there. Ferran Torres had come to the near post and stopped his run. No other Spanish player had made a run towards the far post. If they had done, it would have been a tap-in.
Alba. Olmo. All the way past Vidmer.
We talked about Vidmer's recovery earlier. This is what this bit of defending is all about as well. He's actually caught ball watching, almost running behind him. And all he does is sprint back into a good defensive position to get the block in. He gets caught out initially, but he recovers so well.
Last quarter of an hour, right on edge. Torres. Twin Peaks waiting to make a run. Koke playing it in, it got a flick. It reached Pau Torres before he knew it, and he couldn't really react.
Well, I have to give Zuber a lot of credit at the far post up against Torres. It was really well just to stay goal side of him. I think if Zuber's not there, it would be a goal for Torres and for Spain.
Red card. Michael Oliver has dipped straight into his pocket and dismissed Freuler, who is in dispute and in dismay. This could be pivotal. The man who made the equalising goal is subject to a check now, but his studs thudded into Gerard Moreno.
Yeah, it's a silly challenge. It's a reckless one. It's a dangerous one. You know, you get off your feet. He might say, well, I'm playing the ball, but you're catching the man as well. It is a dangerous challenge. I'm sure that's what he's saying to the referee, but I do feel Michael Oliver's got this right. VAR, of course, will check it as well, but it did look a silly challenge and a risky one.
The check is over, and Freuler walks. 6th red card of the tournament. And in knockout football, with a game right on edge and about a quarter of an hour to play, that is a cause for immense Swiss concern.
Yeah, it's a challenge that you simply, you don't need to make. It's not in a dangerous area of the pitch. It's not as if Spain are looking to score and you have to throw yourself in. But it is reckless, and he does get there late. He's unhappy, but again, I think if you turn that around and he'd been on the end of that challenge, he'd be probably saying the same thing. It's a dangerous one, but it changes the whole complexion of the game. Switzerland worked so hard to get back in the game, get the equaliser. A wrong decision there from a midfielder going after the ball, and he's put his team under severe pressure now.
Well, if Switzerland are going to do it, they're going to have to do it the very hard way. Initially from behind against Spain, and now from a man down. And in the immediate future, with this free kick to try and defend. In by Koke, and flicked wide by Gerard Moreno.
It's not an easy opportunity. A standing jump, you're looking to generate all the power and actually yourself, and normally you want a ball really whipped in that you can just kind of flick goalwards. All the pace is on the ball. There wasn't enough pace on that ball in, but an opportunity here for Spain to finish Switzerland off in normal time.
6th red card of the tournament. Krychowiak, Poland, Ampadu and Wilson, Wales, De Ligt, the Netherlands, Danielson, Sweden against Ukraine the other day, and now Remo Freuler.
Forget whether he meant it or not, or whether he won the ball or not. That does not matter. It's the dangerous nature of how he goes into the challenge, and that's why he was red carded, and in my opinion, rightly so.
Rodriguez. Koke. The only number 8 left on the field. Shaqiri. Vargas. Vidma. How much offensive courage are Switzerland prepared to offer here now? 40 minutes is a long time to play for penalties.
Yeah, they were brave there. There was no kind of sideways and backwards. It was, forward-thinking football, and that's not easy when you've had a player sent off. You've got the man down. Normally just think, well, we'll just kind of defend on the edge of our box and keep Spain out, but that's not the Swiss way.
Seferovic goes barging in. To need all of that vocal support now. Shaqiri got the goal, Shaqiri led the team, but his flair needs perhaps replacing by a bit more functionality now that they are down to 10 men, and Djibril Sow is his replacement.
Well, I think this is a change that's been dictated by the red card, because if Freuler's still on the pitch, there's no reason to take Shaqiri off, because he's still one of your match winners, but you're a man down, you need an extra combative midfielder, so you have to take off Shaqiri, and again, that's because you've had a player sent off, it's costing other players.
And it's not the only change. Seferovic hasn't really been able to impact in this game as he did against the French, and Mario Gavranovic, who certainly has impacted as a substitute through the tournament for Switzerland, gets another chance to do so. He's scored once, of course, from the bench against France. He also, in previous games, has had 2 unfortunate VAR goals disallowed.
I've seen it time and again how difficult it can be for 11 to beat 10. As you can see here, Swiss are going to sit deep and be defensively disciplined, and Spain are going to have to work very hard, move that ball quickly to get the winner they need.
Two sides, both of whom played 2 hours football on Monday, with 10 minutes or so to avoid a further period of overtime. Busquets. Olmo. Ferran Torres lashes it into the side netting. That was being penalised for leaning in.
Well, he says he's just been strong and standing his ground, but I think he does step into Vidma here. He blocks off the defender trying to get to the ball. Torres is playing through the middle now, the central attacker for Spain. He's actually talked about Pep Guardiola turning him into a number 9. He really was an attacking wide player, but he's been coached, so he has that attacking versatility now. He can play out wide or through the middle.
Got a hat-trick against Germany last year, don't forget. Here's Olmo. Pedri. Ikuti. Busquets. Koke. Gerard Moreno. Koke across goal. Out by Olvedi. Gerard Moreno. Rather tamely, as it turned out, into the arms of Jan Sommer.
It's not easy because the ball actually comes back at Moreno fairly quickly. As it's laid off here. You see what he's trying to do, just pass it into one of the corners. Pedri lays it off. There's maybe a bit too much pace on it. He has to really snatch at it.
Top towards Gavranovic. Dinamo Zagreb. Busquets. Olmo. Alba. Last 5. Olmo. Pedri. Aymeric Laporte. I think he got in the way.
Frustration creeping into the Spanish game. Normally they just zip that ball around, are patient, work openings, but Laporte there just thinks, well, there's nothing else on, I might as well take a pot shot on. I think the Swiss at this stage will take shots from distance to deal with.
Busquets. Moreno. He's played it, so is prepared to chase it. Becoming evidently lost cause. Koke. Moreno again from wide. Azpilicueta. Busquets let it roll away. Gavranovic can turn. Protected from Busquets. So, Vidma. So, Gibril So, Vidma kept on going. There's a nasty looking collision in the Spanish penalty area there, and Michael Oliver is right to stop the game promptly. Is down and ailing. This looked a really awkward first clash and then fall.
It's Vidma that went flying forward. Does he collide with Gavranovic as he clears that ball? There's the collision, just gets a whack on the back of the head there. And again, Vidma, the energy levels of this Swiss side, and Vidma in particular, bursting into that Spanish penalty area. They're a man down. They'll be hanging on to stay in the game, to go into extra time, yet the right-back is still flying up the pitch looking to win the game.
Well, I can tell you the players are arriving in Munich now for the second quarter-final between Belgium and Italy. The winners of that will play the winners of this at Wembley on Tuesday evening. And right now, nobody knows. As you saw, we are going to see a Spanish change here. Marcos Llorente did play the first 2 games for Spain at right full back before Cesar Azpilicueta was ready to come in and replace him. Atletico Madrid is ready to go again here. Busquets. Moreno. Valverde. Vargas just about kept it out of harm's way. Moved on by Zakaria. Now Rodriguez with a late burst of energy. Towards Gavranovic, out of his controllable compass.
The Swiss are coping pretty well defensively. A lot of the Spanish possession is across the face of them, really struggling to get in behind or get wide and get crosses in.
Koke. Koke's cross took a mischievous little deflection that worked out okay in the end for Jan Sommer.
It's fairly predictable. The Swiss defenders can read and stay with the forward runners, read that forward ball, and it's fairly comfortable for them.
4 minutes of additional time to play. Unless there's another goal, 30 minutes beyond that. Koke. Pedri. Dani Olmo. Again, fitness, watchfulness and reading of the game is so acute.
He's covered so much ground, he's been booked as well. Still playing ever so well under severe pressure down that side.
It's Ikuti who is being withdrawn. And Marcos Llorente replacing him presumably therefore in a like-for-like swap. And as I say, having played at full-back in the first couple of games. Zuba has run 1,000 miles for Switzerland tonight, and it's no surprise either to see Fasnacht coming on as his replacement. Gerard Moreno, and Sommer's shout was loud, and Akanji bowed to it.
Yeah, as the ball is played in, there's no Spanish player anywhere near the edge of the 6-yard box, so good communication from Jan Sommer, but once again the Swiss defence not under any real pressure, and I do feel they deserve to take this to extra time. They've worked incredibly hard. The only aberration, of course, the foiler sending off, but they've recovered ever so well.
Gavranovic met without compromise by Laporte on halfway, and Laporte is shown a yellow card.
It has to be a booking. He's nowhere near the ball. He's going through his man. It's clumsy, it's unnecessary. And he's dangerous as well, that arm into the neck of Gavranovic. You know, painful one for the striker, but it's what Switzerland will take at this stage, to just slow the game down, get bodies up the pitch, and maybe put some pressure on themselves and try and win it.
Try to make this the last attack of the game. Rodriguez flips on towards Vargas, away by Azpilicueta. In again by Zakaria. Now Zakaria. Spain quickly on with it. Here's Llorente. There's Piliqueta. Gerard Moreno. Llorente, fresh and fleet of foot. She's barely missed anything. Pedri. Jordi Alba. Llorente beaten by Rodriguez, who took a whack.
Again, that Swiss defensive desire when the cross comes in. There's always going to be a red shirt getting to the ball first, and that's what you need when you're a man light. You've got to really keep at it.
And there will be more. This one is going the distance. Two nations familiar with the extra 30 minutes are going to have to go through them again. Spain led at half-time by Zakaria's own goal. Shaqiri equalised 20-odd minutes out from the end. Freuler was sent off for Switzerland, who have since hung on fairly comfortably. And so we reached the end of 90 minutes with the scoreline reading Switzerland 1, Spain 1, and extra time will follow.
And one way of reading all that is to say that Spain have not lived up to the billing in this game, while Switzerland most certainly have. As Michael Owen had predicted today in our MOLA studio, they just do not know when they are beaten, and they are still very much in it as we head toward extra time.
Bakso dek. Pengen tantangan lebih seru? Experience more with Traveloka Experience. Beli sekarang. Traveloka dulu, experience more kemudian. Tambah experience lagi ah.
All them roads leading us to the top. We dare to dream and dare to put a stop. Gonna scale the summit, gonna reach up high. We are the chosen, the ones to climb.
Boots once more. Here comes the Premier League.
Detective Sergeant Jackie Stevenson was a brave member of the police service.
You see sights in the morning like I asked.
You see ghosts. There are concerns about how you're handling her death. The closer you get to the truth, the further away you'll get from me.
Who did this to you?
Why do you do this?
Because I am the darkest part of you.
Spain had edged in front but continued to look very, very edgy indeed, and they presented Switzerland with the chance to strike back, accepted by Xherdan Shaqiri. Welcome everybody, briefly back in the studio here on MOLA. It's finished after 90 minutes plus 4 of stoppage time. Switzerland won, Spain won here on the Super Soccer UEFA Euro 2020 live match programme on MOLA. We're getting ready for extra time, but a brief line or two, Michael, from you as to how it's all gone in your opinion, and who deserves the moral credit, if you like.
Well, I'd have to say Switzerland. The only thing is they seem to play well when they're behind, when their backs to the wall. They've got unbelievable team spirit. Spain disappoint me. They've disappointed me all competition, really. I don't think they're as good as they have been in previous years. They've scored lots of goals, but they're not the Spain of old, and they're in serious danger. Yes, they've got one extra man, but they're in serious danger of getting knocked out by the underdogs here.
Aldo?
Swiss bermain sangat baik di babak kedua dan tentunya bermain sangat impresif meskipun mereka harus bermain di babak perpanjangan waktu ini dengan 10 orang.
They're down to 10 men. Petkovic has withdrawn many of his most capable footballers, but the runners and battlers are out there as Switzerland seek to extend Spain again as we head to extra time. There's been a change for Spain as well as we get set to resume. Torres is off and Oyarzabal is on and waiting to pick up the commentary. Andy Hinchcliffe and Peter Drury.
So, to go for it or to settle for it and buy a ticket in the lottery? Question to be posed for either coach. The assumption must be that Spain have it within their remit to be the more offensive. Switzerland, a man like, might be more inclined to cling on. I wonder how you read it, Andy Hinchcliffe.
I think they have to be considered, of course they do, Switzerland being a man down, but they've shown throughout this game, whether it be 11 or 10 out on the pitch, wherever the personnel is, that they do try and get bodies up the pitch and try and score goals. I'm sure that has to be the case. They have to try and get the balance right, but once again you'd expect Spain to dominate the ball. It's whether they can create the opportunities to win it.
Dani Olmo, Oyarzabal, Pedri. By Fasnacht, taken back by Olmo, reset by Llorente. Pedri. Busquets, that's a smart little ball for Llorente. Nicked off his toe by Rodriguez. And now Kanji.
It's good defending by Rodriguez. Done a lot of defensive work. He may be slightly tired. If he tried to get to the ball and slid in there, could have given a penalty away.
It's Piliqueta. Oyarzabal aimed in towards Gerard Moreno. It is Oyarzabal who's gone wide, isn't it? And Gerard Moreno's back through the middle. Here's Pedri. And now Jordi Alba! And poked away and behind by Akanji. And Gerard Moreno waiting to prey on it.
It was actually Fasnacht who switched off there. That allowed Albert to provide the width down this left-hand side. Excellent ball into space. And that is a golden chance for Moreno to possibly win it for Spain. His reaction tells you he knows he should be tucking that home, but Fasnacht down that right-hand side, he's got to stay with Alba. If he doesn't, it's too easy for the fullback to get a cross in, and Spain should be ahead, really.
Torres. Pedri. Dani Olmo. Llorente. That's Piliqueta. Llorente. Dani Olmo. Gerard Moreno. Swamped by bodies in red.
Good defending there from Zakaria against Olmo. Could easily again have tried to get to the ball and he would have fouled his man and given a penalty away.
Busquets gave it away to Widmer. Now Switzerland is struggling to get out, and Switzerland have two changes upcoming. Cher and Babu. So, Gavranovic, Fasnacht, Too heavy for Vargas.
It's ambitious, but again, there's 4 Swiss players in the Spanish half taking the game to them. So impressive, so much defending to do, yet they're still willing to bust the gut to get up the pitch and try and win it themselves.
Torres. Dani Olmo. Elvedi.
With Cher coming on, you can't see them taking off Elvedi or Akanji unless they're injured, so whether they're going to go to maybe 3 centre-halves and switch to a wing-back system. Interesting to see where Mbabu plays as well.
Zakaria couldn't burst through. Llorente won it. Oyarzabal. Bounces out to Jordi Alba. And Jan Sommer throws up a fist.
It's an identical position from where, well, he didn't score from, but where the deflection came from for the Spanish goal. But it's really at Jan Sommer. He sees it, and he just helps it on his way. It's a save he should make. It's a comfortable one, really, from there.
Oyarzabal. Nicely back across goal by Llorente.
The ball in is a little bit too deep, and Llorente is just looking to try and keep it alive. That's the earliest strike from Jordi Alba. It's fairly comfortable for Sommer.
Pedri. Busquets. Oyarzabal. Immaculately timed again by Rodriguez.
Jordi Alba's had some joy down this left-hand side at the start of extra time for Spain, and see that the Swiss have just switched over Fastnacht and Vargas.
Dani Olmo, deflection wide, could have flown anywhere.
This time the Swiss are luckier than they were with the Spanish goal. As soon as that strike comes in, that could easily just have rolled into the corner. He smashes it against Moreno, but a bit of good fortune this time for the Swiss. The way that they're defending, they deserve it. Jordi Alba to do is to keep galloping down that left-hand side, so maybe that's why they've made the switch. Vargas on the ball here is kind of tasked with defending against Alba when he steps forward, rather than Fastnacht, who switched off earlier on.
And lively once more. Elvedi across. Vidmer in a tight spot. Akanji required to try and help him out, but he's lost it to Olmo. Vidmer's challenge, and he's on a yellow. Careful. Be very careful.
Well, he'd be very, very lucky to escape here, and the referee's been leaning, because really, as a standalone challenge, that, in my book, should be a yellow card. So again, the Swiss could be down to 9 men. They've escaped there, really.
Short. Oyarzabal. Jordi Alba got a little flick. Jan Sommer read it.
It's an intricate set piece from Spain, but Jan Sommer was always on his toes, always anticipating that ball coming into his 6-yard box. It's really good goalkeeping. Just wonder, with Vidmer on that yellow card, he really got away with that challenge he just made, and whether Petkovic will think about maybe taking Vidmer off, because of course down to 10 men is one thing, down to 9 it would be virtually unthinkable for the Swiss to hold out.
Torres, Pedri, Olmo, Alba, Olmo, Llorente, Oyarzabal, Azpilicueta, Olmo, Llorente against Akanji and behind.
They do so well, Spain, to tiptoe their way through. There's so many Swiss defenders and midfielders back there. Once again, Akanji is the man in the right place at the right time, but really intricate football from Spain.
Bell's corner, for which Gerard Moreno was amongst the waiting customers.
That's another decent chance. Again, his reaction tells you should be doing better. Mistimes it, comes off his shoulder. Just not happening for Spain.
Those two Swiss subs have been waiting quite a while now. Perhaps their moment has come. Sakala has shown spirit and willingness to come back from the misfortune of his early own goal, and he is one of two heading for the touchline, and Vidmar, I see, is the other. Babu, a like-for-like replacement at right full back, and Sharaf as Zakaria is the other change. We'll have to wait and see precisely what sort of a role Cher takes up. Straight into the thick of it. Lofted over the top towards Llorente. And what an extraordinary point-blank save by Jan Sommer from Gerard Moreno.
Well, it's a brilliant piece of goalkeeping. They just go to sleep really for the first time. Switzerland, long ball over the top. They should be dealing with that. Breaks kindly for Moreno. And he should be drilling this past Sommer. It's so close to the Swiss keeper. That's an incredible stop.
Past 100 minutes. Oyarzabal. Sommer was struggling for his bearings then, and glad to see Pau Torres with a header over. Dani Olmo with the resultant corner. Pedri. Brousseau. The Spanish set piece. Referee's seen a bit of pushing and shoving.
It looks like Mbabu was just thrown to the ground. He's up against Azpilicueta. I think it's actually Laporte who just kind of throws him to the ground. Mbabu makes a bit of a meal of it as well. That convinces the referee that he has been fouled, but it looks as if I think Switzerland maybe are going to stay with the back four and put Cher into central midfield. It looks as if that's what they've done, rather than go to a back three and play with wing backs, sticking with the back four, playing a solid defender really in a central midfield position alongside So.
Well, with Freuler sending off and 6 substitutions, it is a fact that that back three represent the only outfield players for Switzerland who began the game and are still on the field.
That's why we keep saying it's a squad game. Is it to win matches, to win tournaments? It's about utilising the squad. You get players sent off, you're going to have to do that. Players get tired, you have to maybe switch formation, switch personnel. And all the squad need to play their part.
Dani Olmo, Llorente. Oyarzabal! Sommer makes another fine stop.
Well, it is a decent strike, but once again, I think it's at a height that makes it savable for Jan Sommer. But the problem for him, he doesn't see it so late, so has to react really quickly. And another good stop.
Almost corner. And Sommer caught as he threw knuckles at it.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes or so, the Swiss keeper has been absolutely brilliant, making saves, being brave, taking the pressure off his defenders here, punching clear, doing everything that his teammates require of him.
Well, they've nearly got, or he has nearly got, to half-time and extra time. 6 saves in the game for Jan Sommer. Following on from that block from 12 yards from Kylian Mbappe on Monday, which is why Switzerland were here in the first place. Azpilicueta. Laporte. Torres. Pedri. Dani Olmo. Llorente, high from Gibraltar. Back in by Laporte. Back out towards Gavranovic. Truth is that in this first period of extra time, Switzerland have hardly crossed halfway. Pedri. Riazabal. Pau Torres. Pedri. Jordi Alba. Evaded to safety.
As you say, Peter, Switzerland struggling to get out, but that's to be expected. If you're a man light, you'd expect any opponent to have more of the ball. And Spain are a team that dominate possession, but not doing that much with it at the moment. And Switzerland hanging in there.
Azpilicueta. Oyarzabal. Oyarzabal! Sommer's got it.
Well, he reads this ever so well, Jan Sommer. He's actually moving towards the ball. You know, as it struck, he knows exactly what Oyarzabal is looking to do with his left foot, whip it into that top corner. He doesn't get the angle on the strike correct, but the keeper's seen it coming all the way.
And we are still where we were. No addition over the course of the first period of extra time. Switzerland and Spain are now a quarter of an hour away, potentially, from a penalty shootout for the first berth in the semi-finals. 105 minutes played. It remains Switzerland 1, Spain 1.
Certainly had the ball during the first part of that period of extra time. They had one or two chances, but still no breakthrough, Michael. What now for Luis Enrique, in your view? We were just stopping there because your Spanish is so good, to get a little flavour of what he's trying to say to them. Where are they in this match?
They've got the advantage. That's where they are. They've got the extra man. So, you know, tired legs. Switzerland have already been to extra time once. And now they've got 10 men. They're trying to, you know, to match a team like Spain, who have got the majority of the possession. So Spain have got the edge in extra time. However, this team, Switzerland, will be trying to just eke it out, just put this last bit of effort in to try to get it to penalties.
Thank you, Michael. Aldo?
Keuntungan jumlah pemain dimaksimalkan oleh Spanyol di babak pertama perpanjangan waktu saat mereka menggedor gawang Swis. Namun sayangnya Jan Sommer bermain sangat baik. Dan tentunya untuk Swiss mereka akan berusaha memaksimalkan 15 menit tersisa untuk maju ke babak penalti.
Just a reminder, we follow the conclusion of this one with our second quarter-final. Belgium against Italy, coming exclusively live later all across Indonesia here on MOLA with Michael Owen later. That's after we sort it all out in St. Petersburg. Could Switzerland make their own piece of football history very shortly? Could they make it to the semi-final of a major tournament? Or will Spain find a way?
Four of Switzerland's 5 takers from Monday night are on the field at the moment. Actually, the exception is Mehmedi, who wasn't even in the squad tonight and who took the 5th and, as it turned out, decisive one against France. Switzerland went out of the last European Championship on penalties to Poland in Saint-Etienne 5 years ago. They reached this stage of this European Championship on penalties 4 days ago. Spain went out of the last World Cup on penalties to Russia in Russia. "15 minutes to see whether we get that far." Pau Torres. Busquets. Helped by Rodriguez. Llorente looking to juggle. Akanji dug it out.
Akanji's been absolutely immense. Every Swiss player has played their part, a real togetherness as well. The substitutes have come on and haven't let the team down, but Akanji in particular at the back has been an absolute rock.
A statistic which is reflective of Spain's perhaps understandable dominance against 10 men. They had 10 shots in the first 15 minutes of extra time. 10 shots in a quarter of an hour period. More than Switzerland have had in the whole game. All of which is meaningless, unless and until one of them goes in.
Yeah, their passing was sharper in the first 15 minutes, their movement was good, they created opportunities, just Jan Sommer kept coming up with an answer.
Pedri. He's there again. Forward to Gavranovic, who has So ahead of him, and Mbabu adventurously ahead of him. Mbabu looking to get around Pau Torres. Just biting off a little more than he could chew, and he has a long journey back now. Pedri. Busquets. Floated wide again for Dani Olmo. Can't get beyond Mbabu. Eventually closed down by Pedri, so Dani Olmo has it back, so pokes it out. Busquets. Llorente. Riarthabal. Spilicueta. Torres. Jordi Alba. Seems months since that early shot of his, which cannoned in off Zakaria. Laporte. Pau Torres. Pedri. Jordi Alba. Llorente. Terrific block by Rodriguez. Spilicueta. In again by Busquets, and the whistle has gone.
That's a brilliant Spanish attack. Once again, Jordi Alba down the left, providing the service into the box. But Rodriguez, he knows he can't get close to Llorente, so all he can do is go to ground and try and block the shot, and he does it quite brilliantly. I suspect the Swiss might need a few more blocks like that, or a few more Sommer saves, just to see them through to a penalty shootout.
Loaded by Gerard Moreno. face of it, logically, rationally, only one team here with the wherewithal to prevent this from going to penalties. Alba, Olmo! That's a good crisp half volley. And Sommer's behind it.
That's not an easy opportunity because the ball's kind of lofted towards him. It is a good clean connection, but right down the goalkeeper's throat. But once again, Jordi Alba breaking forward down the left-hand side. Fastnax has switched over onto that right-hand side for Switzerland. And again, he doesn't track the left-back's run. And time and again, Alba's getting in, getting crosses in. And Switzerland have to realise what's happening here and deal with Alba.
There's going to be a Spanish change. Thiago Alcantara of Liverpool is waiting to come on. A would-be penalty taker, I'm sure, but beyond that, a picker of game-changing passes. And Spain need one of those. Laporte, Oyarzabal, Llorente, and Dani Olmo high and wide.
He probably needed to shoot first time. And the opportunity was there as the ball is whipped his way. He could have just put his laces through it, but he felt maybe slightly behind him and he has to take a touch and get it out in front of him. And that's not a clean contact. It's nowhere near the target in the end.
So given the match situation, Spain feel able to withdraw a centre-half. It may require Sergio Busquets to mind the back door a little more, but Thiago Alcantara, front-footed picker of locks, he's given 12 minutes or so to pick this Swiss lock. Moreno, Jordi Alba, away by Alvedi. Busquets without precision, Alba with a glare. Luis Enrique on the edge.
And that's what Switzerland needed, a wayward forward pass. They can take a breath, get their shape back and just have a bit of a rest.
Switzerland have not had an attempt on goal of any sort since Shaqiri equalised. But it only takes a moment. Gibraltar wants a free kick out of that. Michael Oliver is not going to oblige him. Thiago. Thiago coming on for his Liverpool Premier League debut at Chelsea last autumn, when Chelsea were down to 10 men. And for half a game at Stamford Bridge, he absolutely ran the show. He's against 10 men now. Thiago, Pedri, Alba, Dani Olmo, that's sweet. Here's Thiago, there's Llorente. Thiago, there's Pinaqueta, Pedri, Alba, Llorente, Gerard Moreno, Olmo. Anyone, anywhere, still no.
There's just not really any clear-cut chances in that attack. Great football, plenty of bodies in the Swiss box, but it's just not falling cleanly to any Spanish player to apply the finishing touch.
Flicked on at the near post by Busquets and pocketed okay by Sommer.
I suppose you have to credit the Swiss goalkeeper for his positioning here. It's absolutely perfect, but either side of him, and he's got a problem. And Busquets, it's a good, well-timed header. He does nothing wrong. He's just hoping maybe the keeper is, badly positioned and he can sneak that ball past him, but not to be.
Gibraltar inside the last 5 minutes before penalties. Happy just to win a throw that deep into Spanish territory and to eat up some of that time. This becomes a possibility for Petkovic now. It becomes unbearably possible for some of the supporters. It is, as has been said a million times, the hope that kills you. And Switzerland have some hope here.
Yeah, Freuler was sent off after, what, 77 minutes? I suppose at that point, the Swiss coach, Swiss players will be saying, well, I'll tell you what, we're probably going to have to play for penalties here, but they've worked incredibly hard to possibly make that happen.
Flipping by Mbabu, out by Laporte under almost no pressure at all. Pedri. Barely more than half an hour away from kickoff in the second quarter-final, and we still don't have an outcome in the first. 3 minutes to play. Thiago for Spain. Picked off by Alvedi, who looked weary there. Gerard Moreno. And down goes Sommer again.
Yeah, the hand of apology is up from Alvedi. He is really struggling. Gave the ball away cheaply. And it is a good chance, Moreno. I think Mbabu does well just to maybe slow Moreno up. Maybe it's slightly difficult for him. The angle is maybe against the striker, but once again, Sommer's positioning excellent. There's not enough on it to beat him. And once again, the keeper reads it perfectly.
One or two of these heroic Swiss defenders may not have the energy left to kick the ball forwards 12 yards. 3 or 4 minutes from now. Thiago. Oyarthabal. Alba. Thiago. Alvedi. Back by Thiago. Clear by Cher. And they're nearly there. There being a temporary interim destination, somewhere between hope and despair. But it's a destination for which they've been settling since Freuler's dismissal, 13 minutes shy of the 90. And the boy Pedri is being spared a penalty, as perhaps seems kind to an 18-year-old. An awful lot to take on board for him. And Rodri is his replacement, possibly for that one kick of the football. Thiago went in hard. It is a Swiss ball.
Incredible determination from Switzerland. They made history getting to this quarter-final, and you can maybe forgive them for thinking, well, we've made history, we've gone as far as we could possibly go in this competition, but absolutely not. They've dug deep. I guess another very wide, and I think they deserve the opportunity to go through on penalties. They worked that hard.
Thumped away by Sommer, maybe for the last time. Maybe not. Here's Llorente. Thiago. Final Spanish thrust. Wide for Jordi Alba. Busquets.
You get the sense the crowd want the whistle, don't they?
Thiago. The Swiss crowd do. Busquets. Jordi Alba against Mbabu and away. Inside one additional minute. Busquets charged down. Gavranovic looking to go the other way. He'll be lucky. He was shown a card for the foul on Busquets. barely matters in the context of this game, though if they do go through, that's a suspension for him. A detail at this stage. In by Pedri. Llorente's cross! And the header is up, over and harmless from Rodri. And the game thereby is almost certainly up.
That's a difficult header, it's so high, very hard to get over it, but they've really deserved it. Switzerland worked incredibly hard. What a story this will be if they beat France. Can they now beat Spain and go through to the semi-finals? We'll see.
Switzerland dragged the world champions to penalties and beat them at the start of the week. They will end the week with another penalty shootout against the three-time champions of Europe, Spain, who could not break down 10 men at whom they had a shot for more than 40 playing minutes. The end of 120 playing minutes, it is Switzerland 1, Spain 1. A semi-final berth awaits. A penalty shootout is imminent.
An extraordinarily courageous effort this has been by Petkovic and Switzerland, and they may yet be rewarded by creating another sensation. But first, Michael, with so many changes, how can this man now have a plan as to who's to take these penalties?
Well, I think in the later changes, especially from Spain's point of view, were with penalties in mind. I didn't think Spain did enough to go through really in real time. I think Switzerland definitely deserve another shot at it, and they get one with a penalty shootout. And I look at the goalkeepers. Sommer looks as if he's in really good form, made a few saves there. I wouldn't be so sure about the Spain goalkeeper. And of course, there's an unbelievable stat that you...
Here comes number 2. Spain have missed the last 5 penalties that they have taken. So is this going to be quite difficult for Luis Enrique to find men to take his penalties now?
It has to be. It absolutely has to be. That's got to play on your mind. I mean, that's an unbelievable stat. 5 penalties on the spin is frightening. And with the the momentum in many ways, and with the confidence of the goalkeeper, Sommer, for Switzerland, you have to say that they go into this with as good a chance, if not better, than Spain.
Aldo?
Spanyol terlihat sangat mengecewakan dalam 120 menit, dan kita lihat Swiss bermain sangat berani meskipun mereka bermain hanya dengan 10 pemain setelah menit ke-70-an. Dan kita bisa lihat beberapa statistik yang tidak memihak Spanyol, terutama karena mereka tidak berhasil mengambil 5 penalti terakhir, dan tentunya juga penampilan mereka yang tidak meyakinkan di pertandingan ini.
So is the hand of history on the shoulder of Petkovic, their long-serving coach? Could this be the moment of a great historic breakthrough for Switzerland? They're this close now to a place in the semi-finals. Jan Sommer, as Michael Owen rightly says, has been magnificent in goal for Switzerland. In goal for Spain, a young man, Unai Simon, who made a cataclysmic mistake, unfortunately. The young man, a few nights ago, he has the chance to rectify that and become a national hero. But Michael, you know the scene in Spain so very well. I will say now, if this Spanish team goes out in this fashion, they are not going to enjoy going home, are they?
All the pressure is on Spain. Switzerland, this is the furthest they've ever got in the competition. So they go home absolute superstars regardless, and knocked out the world champions. They've taken Spain, with 10 men, taken Spain to penalties. This is just a free punch for Switzerland. From Spain's point of view, no, this is not good enough. Not going through against Switzerland will not be seen or not be taken well by the Spanish people or press. So the pressure is all on the Spaniards.
That's Michael Owen, once of Real Madrid. Here's Aldo.
Tekanan berada di pundak para pemain Spanyol, karena kalau mereka tersingkir melalui adu penalti ini, mereka akan pulang dengan komentar dan semua liputan negatif dari media. Sementara untuk Swiss, kita bisa lihat ini adalah pencapaian terbaik mereka di turnamen Euro sejauh ini. Dan kalau mereka harus tersingkir malam ini, mereka akan tetap tersingkir dengan kepala yang tegak.
Thank you, Aldo. Michael Oliver is giving both goalkeepers the full instruction list again. Of course, those laws relating to the penalty kick were amended for this current season that we're just finishing, but they'll know all that. And, of course, Sommer has got form in these shootouts. It looks like Busquets will attempt to strike first against him. Spain are going to go first. A reminder that we follow this unmissable drama here from Euro 2020 with exclusive live coverage of Belgium against Italy. But who will be enjoying the bask of glory by then?
Busquets has hit the base of the post. And Switzerland have an immediate advantage.
And the keeper goes the wrong way. And that is so frustrating. You sit the goalkeeper down, yet you don't score in the other corner. Dream start for Switzerland.
Now, Switzerland have available to them here 4 of the 5 who stepped up in Bucharest on Monday. And the first to step up then was Gavranovic. And he will seek a similar outcome now. Mario Gavranovic scores efficiently.
That's such a cool penalty. And you can practice them in training all week long. Of course, he's had the experience of taking one in a competitive shootout against France, and that was nerveless.
Dani Olmo now for Spain, who went out of the last World Cup in Russia on penalties against Russia in Moscow.
The pressure on Olmo here is enormous, with Busquets having missed the first one.
Olmo fires it into the roof, and Spain are on the board.
I tell you what, that's how to take a penalty, but under the pressure he was, that is extraordinary. Right in the top corner, no chance for Sommer to keep that out.
Second up for the Swiss on Monday was Fabian Schär, and they are sticking to a recipe that tasted nice then. Ice in his eyes. Schär. That's a fine stop. Perhaps a shade telegraphed, but Simon got across and Spain have parity.
Yeah, it's a poor penalty for me. That's not a great save. It, as you say, telegraphs it. It's a little bit laboured. It's not in the corner. It's at a savable height. It's everything you don't want from a penalty, and exactly what Simon wanted, and that's a comfortable stop, and Spain back in it.
Schär had been a scorer in Saint-Etienne 5 years ago when Switzerland went out. Rodri late into the game for this moment. And he is denied! Sommer repeats the trick.
Well, that's similar in many ways to the Schär penalty. He telegraphs it, he opens his body up, it's a good height for the keeper. He's nowhere near the post. And he's pretty much centre of goal. And again, he reads it, Jan Sommer. I tell you, his technique is excellent. His back foot is on the line, his front foot is off. And it's a great save, but he's got that back foot on the line, and that is crucial. If he gets that wrong, well, the penalty gets retaken.
Manuel Akanji scored the third of 5 against England's Jordan Pickford in the Nations League in Guimarães in 2019, and indeed against Hugo Lloris at the start of this week. What a magnificent game he's had. He does not deserve to miss.
Yeah, he put in a towering performance, but again, it just all boils down to this one kick for him now.
Akanji showed too much of it to the keeper and departs with head in hands.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these stuttering run-ups. You know, when I took penalties, I never did that. I don't see the reason to do that. Maybe you want the goalkeeper to move early, then you can tuck it in the other corner, but it's a risk.
After 3 each, it's 1 each. Moreno has missed a penalty in open tournament play already at this competition. So here is a test of nerves. Moreno finds the net. And for the first time in the shootout, advantage Spain.
Oh, that's an emphatic penalty, and as you mentioned, Peter, he's under severe pressure for missing one already in the tournament. That's right in the top corner. That's how to take them.
And next up for the Swiss, again, as against France, it's Vargas. Ruben Vargas has hoofed it high. And Spain are on the edge of progress, and Switzerland are on the brink.
It seems as if the pressure got to him. Such a poor penalty. He got Unai Simon dancing on his goal line, and that the penalty taker loses focus. It's really, really poor. At this stage of a penalty shootout, just keep it on target. Don't blast it over the bar. You can take some of the pace off it, but make sure, at the very least, you work the keeper.
And so the burden and the privilege falls to Mikel Oyarzabal of Real Sociedad. Score, and Spain are through. This for a place in a Wembley semi-final. Oyarzabal, and Spanish eyes smile. Boy, they toiled. Hauled to the very brink. They were peering into the abyss. Now they stare at Wembley Stadium, and who knows what beyond. Another tie that took us to the edge. The Swiss weep, as well they might, for all their extraordinary labour has come to naught. But in the end, it was about one kick of the ball, and Oyarzabal, at the expense of previously heroic Sommer, delivered. Sportsmanship, beautiful to see. Spanish smiles, equally delicious. And Swiss angst, truly hurtful. Switzerland have so much to be proud of. They have gone beyond where they thought it was possible. But Spain, Andy Hinchcliffe, Spain against Belgium or Italy, it's going to be a tasty semi.
Absolutely it is, but you get a sense of relief in the Spanish camp that they've managed to make it through. But just a word on Switzerland. What an incredible tournament they've had. They've beaten the world champions in France, deservedly so in my eyes as well. And you can see what it means to the players and to the fans. They've given absolutely everything, and it's heartbreaking for them. But this is what can happen. You work so hard in normal time, extra time, you get to a penalty shootout, and it just falls flat. But they have been incredible.
Switzerland won, Spain won. Spain win it, 3-win on penalties.
So farewell to Petkovic, but Luis Enrique and Spain, I won't say march on. They've been almost humble tonight, haven't they? And it's heartbreaking for Switzerland, but it is Spain who are through and can now sit back this evening, our time here, and watch Belgium and Italy in the second of the semi-finals coming up very shortly for you on MOLA. There's more to come from Michael Owen here and from Aldo as well, because we'll bring you our great quiz, your chance to be a star on MOLA and your chance to win a wonderful prize, Premier League trip or games consoles in our quiz coming up in just a moment or two.
What's up, Indonesia?
I'm here on MOLA Chill Fridays to play a little bit of music for you.
Let's do it.
It's gonna sound a little different, but I think you'll like it.
We don't talk anymore like we used to do.
Tell 'em, hey.
Terima kasih.
Thank everybody for tuning in to MOLA Chill Fridays.
Sampai jumpa.
What happened?
Explosion right in the corner of the building.
2 bombs went boom, which means whoever we're looking for knows what they're doing.
Tell me exactly who gave you that bomb.
Maggie, I got something.
There's one more bomb.
Clear the hall.
It's definitely him. Go. The job doesn't stop. So I don't.
C'è stato un po' di cambiamento da quando ho lasciato Como per venire qui in Inghilterra con Garuda. In questi 5 mesi ho avuto molto tempo per giocare a calcio, quindi dedicarmi proprio allo sport che amo. Quindi facevamo mattina allenamento, poi magari pomeriggio palestra.
He disrespects you. Fucking idiot. Go on, got him! You got him!
Don't miss the exclusive quarterfinal of Euro 2020.
Watch live matches, replay matches,
highlights, and much more.
Only on MOLA.
I believe I've been contacted by the Mercedes killer.
Why is he just waiting there?
It was exhausting even watching it, wasn't it, as we went to penalties once more in this extraordinary tournament, and the first of the quarterfinals decided in Spain's favour. They have finally seen off Switzerland. And what a magnificent effort it has been again tonight by Switzerland. Spain, go forward. So the MOLA Rafa Show, we're delighted to have your company. Thank you very much indeed. And a reminder that we follow almost immediately with the second of the quarterfinals and that huge showdown between Belgium and Italy, live with us all across Indonesia shortly. First, some reflections on what we've seen in the first one in St. Petersburg. Michael Owen is on our team today. We have Aldo as well. Aldo's got the quiz coming up in a moment or two. But I think the biggest question in terms of quizzing you, Michael, about your knowledge of Spanish football, I know they've got through, but I don't think the Spanish are going to take kindly to how they struggled there. What do you think?
No, they're not convincing at all. They struggled through in extra time previously. They struggled through on penalties this time. I just don't think Spain are what they were. However, they're down to the last 4. They're going to have a right chance of getting into the final. So this team are going to hopefully be getting better and better. But I can't see them winning it. I must admit, I just don't think they're good, and I think they've been quite fortunate to get through to how far they've got through so far.
Nobody ever said this game was fair all the time to everybody, but it's so tough on Switzerland, isn't it, Mike?
It is, yeah. They've played well. They've fought hard. They've had a really tough run at it. I mean, playing France in the second round and then Spain, 2 heavyweights in the international game, and they've come out of it with, you know, playing really well, and they'll go home to their native country, absolute heroes. They've gone the furthest that any Swiss side has gone in the European Championships, so they deserve a big round of applause.
Indeed they do, and I know they're going home technically to their home country, but as we've said, and of course we bring the Bundesliga to our friends and fans all across Indonesia here on MOLA, we see most of those Switzerland players playing in the Bundesliga, and compared to the form, man for man, that they've demonstrated through the last season or so, Michael, all of them have raised their game magnificently in this tournament. I think that has to be said as well.
Yeah, and do you know what? That's what international football is all about, because we all see players playing domestically, and we've all got our favourites, and they all get, you know, their profile gets raised, whatever league they're in. But then you come to your national team, and it's so much about a collective. How can you play together? Yes, star players, but how can you bring that together in a team that don't really come together that often, and they've come together and shown what team spirit is all about.
Aldo?
Meskipun menang, Spanyol belum bermain meyakinkan di sepanjang babak pertama, babak kedua maupun babak perpanjangan waktu. Dan tentunya tantangan yang lebih besar menunggu mereka di semifinal. Sementara untuk Swiss, mereka bermain sangat berani dan sangat tidak beruntung karena mereka harus kalah. Tapi ini adalah pencapaian terbaik mereka di turnamen ini. Mereka akan pulang dengan kepala tegak.
Great stuff, Aldo. Thank you very much indeed. Michael here. Again, the key moments, the Super Soccer highlights reel on this long drawn-out struggle, even after Spain eventually just edged their way in front. And that was a shade fortunate, wasn't it? And we do understand it will count as an own goal. Jordi Alba back in the side for Spain, but he's not going to get the credit for that one. Off Zakaria. Sommer beaten. But they just couldn't shake off this so determined Switzerland outfit. Great performance second half, wasn't it, by them?
Yeah, they pressed, you know, and they seem to do that when they go behind. They seem to come out of their shell and cause teams problems. It was a mistake again from the Spanish centre-halves. They've still got problems in that area.
Absolutely.
And it was a good ball by Freuler and a great finish as well from Shaqiri off the post.
But you called it before the game started. Two young centre-backs who've never played for Spain before in a game of this importance, and it cost them there, Michael.
Worrying going into a tournament not having a settled centre-half pair, and Laporte seems to be the mainstay. As we see this red card that was given, some debate about it. I think you've got to be. Well, I think you've got to be much more savvy. You can't be going in with 2 feet to two-footed tackle. It's endangering the safety of a player, and I probably think it is a red card.
Not very many real quality penalties in this, in the shootout. Busquets setting the tone.
Yeah, just have a look at the Spain goalkeeper, Unai Simon. I don't like it. I didn't like it as a centre-forward, taking a penalty when the goalkeeper shuffles from side to side, side to side. It's very off-putting, and he did it lots of times. Look at that. It's almost... It does put you off. And I think...
Does it?
Yeah, and I think he's been the key there. Just those movements before, I think it's put off the Swiss players, and they've almost doubted themselves and missed 3 penalties.
Mind you, Spain's record coming into this shootout didn't encourage much confidence either, did it? Akanji so hard on him. Outstanding performance today from him. Not to be. Moreno needed this very badly indeed, didn't he?
Yeah, the penalties that Spain scored were very confident. I mean, they knocked 2 right in the top corner, and then, of course, the final one as well was tucked away nicely. But I think from Switzerland's point of view, I think they'll be disappointed that they didn't pick a corner, stick to it and commit to it.
They didn't seem to be able to do that under the pressure this time, Michael, did they? And Oyarzabal lifts all the pressure on Luis Enrique. So Spain, we know, dominating the play. They had the bulk of the ball. They had by far the bulk of the goal attempts. But to score only once in, 120 minutes with 10 attempts on target, another question mark, I think, for Spain as we head very much to the business end of the tournament. Aldo?
Seperti yang kita lihat dari statistik, Spanyol mendominasi pertandingan, mendominasi jalannya laga tentunya, apalagi di babak perpanjangan waktu, tentunya penguasaan bola dan juga kesempatan yang dibuat. Dan kita bisa lihat Jan Sommer bermain sangat baik di 120 menit, namun Unai Simon adalah pahlawan untuk Spanyol saat mereka berhasil lolos ke semifinal.
So Switzerland out, Spain seek to recuperate and start to build up to a trip to Wembley. They are in the semi-final. Very shortly coming up here on MOLA, we'll find out if it will be Belgium or Italy that they will meet in the first of the semi-finals. And tomorrow, Ukraine, England in the quarter-finals, along with Czech Republic against Denmark. The road to the final is becoming clearer. Now, Indonesia, just away from all the football for just a moment or two. As you are all very much aware, I'm sure, MOLA has many great films and variety shows to bring for your entertainment and enjoyment. We'd like to recommend you a brand new series, Catch 22, a story adaptation from the classic novel of Joseph Heller, set during World War II, starring George Clooney. And without further ado, here is the trailer.
Doc, you can ground me if I'm crazy, right?
Oh, sure, I have to. I have to ground anyone who's crazy.
Then ground me, I'm crazy.
You're not crazy.
Why not?
Catch 22. As soon as you ask to get out of combat duty, you're no longer crazy, and so you have to fly more missions.
That's some catch, that catch 22.
It's the best there is.
Read me back the last line.
Read me back the last line.
Not my last line, somebody else's.
Read me back the last line.
That's my last line again.
Oh, no, sir, that's my last line. I read it to you just a moment ago.
I think you and I are the only two sane people on this base.
I have decided to raise the mission count from 25 to 30. We're gonna win this thing. Hip, hip.
It doesn't make a difference who wins the war to someone who's dead.
It's all a numbers game. And when your number's up, your number's up.
This is war.
Hello.
War concentrates power in the hands of those most likely to abuse it.
Well, that was the agreement we had. 500 goats. War is not about profits, son. Absolutely, sir, not only.
I've flown more missions than anybody on this base, and every time I get closer, they raise it on me.
Husseini's had his balls blown off. I want to see it.
I can't do this anymore.
You think this is a big fat joke?
Oh, you know, there's no difference between me and you. Me, happy, 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 dead. You, worry, worry, worry. Dead.
You see the difference?
Itulah Catch 22, film seri yang disadur dari novel klasik karya Joseph Heller. Cerita yang bersetting Perang Dunia Kedua dan dibintangi oleh George Clooney. Saksikan eksklusif di MOLA dengan berlangganan Euro Unlimited sebesar Rp25.000. Langsung saja kita ke kuis MOLA Euro Unlimited. Selamat pagi semua. Untuk Serhi, Gabriel, dan Firman, siap menang hadiah ya?
Ya.
Oke, round 1. Pertanyaan pertama untuk Serhi. Siapa nama pemain yang mencetak gol bunuh diri pada pertandingan Swis melawan Spanyol tadi?
Denis Zakaria.
Correct, betul. Untuk Gabriel, pada menit berapa gol pertama pada pertandingan ini terjadi?
8.
Correct, betul. Untuk Firman, siapa pemain pertama yang mendapatkan kartu kuning pada pertandingan malam ini? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pas. Sayang sekali jawaban yang benar adalah Sylvain Widmer. Round 2, untuk Serhi lagi. Siapa kapten Swiss pada pertandingan melawan Spanyol malam ini?
Erdan Shaqiri.
Betul, correct. Untuk Gabriel, siapa pemain Swiss yang absen pada pertandingan ini karena akumulasi kartu kuning?
Granit Xhaka.
Correct, betul. Untuk Firman, siapa nama pemain Swiss yang eksekusi penalti dihalau Hugo Lloris saat melawan Prancis? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Aris Serekovic.
Sayang sekali salah. Jawaban yang benar adalah Ricardo Rodriguez. Sekarang tinggal Serhi sama Gabriel di ronde 3. Pertanyaan pertama, Serhi. Sebutkan 2 pencetak gol Swiss saat menghadapi Prancis di babak 16 besar. 5. Jawabannya apa?
Saya nggak tahu.
Sayang sekali jawaban yang benar adalah Haris Seferovic dan Mario Gavranovic. Gabriel, for the win. Kalau kamu bisa jawab ini dengan benar, kamu dapat Premier League trip. Sebutkan 2 pencetak gol Spanyol di babak extra time saat mengalahkan Kroasia.
Alvaro Morata dan Mikel Oyarzabal.
Yakin ya? Oke, dengan begitu, congratulations untuk Gabriel. Selamat kamu memenangkan Premier League trip. Dan untuk Anda semua yang mau berpartisipasi di kuis ini, berikut terms and condition-nya. Pertama, tentunya Anda harus berlangganan MOLA, melengkapi data diri, menyaksikan semua konten yang kita punya, dan user dengan durasi menonton terbanyak akan diundang langsung melalui email untuk mengikuti kuis ini, jawab semua pertanyaan dengan benar, dan kamu akan mendapatkan hadiah. Back to you, Dempo. We got a winner.
Great stuff, Aldo. Congratulations to our winner. Please stay with us here on MOLA because we're not finished. This classic tournament continues very shortly. We head next to Munich for Belgium against Italy. More to come from Michael and from Aldo. Hard luck, Switzerland. Spain got there in the end.